Well, listen, C Money, let's get right to the topic. I'll catch the last couple of super chats before we get on out of here. So the narrative that has been running rampant, and people like are for real, but this isn't an assumption. I'm not being facetious. I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. The narrative, and again, Simon, I appreciate the generosity, brother, and obviously we're not singling you out. This is your opinion. You're entitled to it, but I have to push back on it because I do not believe Sony is acting the way Sony is acting, which they have shown us many times before. C Money, this is who they are. They charge you $10 for an upgrade fee for graphics when smart delivery exists. They charge you to have cloud saves. They just raised the price of the actual console in Japan before the announcement of this egregious $700. They also, in the same week, raised the the controllers by $5. This is who Sony is. Last year, they raised their service prices to as much as $180 a year for their maximum edition of PSN, and they do not add enough day and date. Now, have they had a few? Sure. But they also took out Spider-Man and Miles Morales when Spider-Man 2 was coming out so they could sell it to you. You know what else they just did? They took out Horizon Forbidden West because Lego Horizon is coming out. And instead of having that game in there where someone that might buy the Lego game and say, what is this Horizon game? I'm going to go play it. Now they're going to make people go buy it. How come MLB The Show is in Game Pass and not in the service? How come Concord wasn't in the service? Because this ultimately is who PlayStation is. And who put them there are the people who continue to pay for these things. And that is why they're ballsy enough to drop a 700 bare bones next, I almost said next gen.
Mid-gen.
PlayStation, mid-gen refresh and fresh-faced get out there and be like, yeah, you folks need it. And they're doing that because there have been people, there's been spaces, there have been podcasts. I'll pay $100 for the next God of War because I'll pay for quality. It's that mentality that gives the absolute Sony's the people in charge, go ahead and charge them more because they're going to pay for it. See, Money, this is a narrative I do not agree with. I think that it has so many falsities to anyone running it. The lack of competition. Again, Xbox gets blamed for everything. The Series X, when something doesn't work on another platform, is blamed because of the Series S. Now we're hearing, well, it's because Microsoft isn't competing. Well, yeah, I think they are competing because they spent $100 billion in 5 years and they own every major IP you could possibly want. And yes, some of them are going to go to PlayStation, and people are going to play them, and they're going to buy them, and all of the monies coming from the PlayStation gamers are going to fund the next game. So thank you very much for that. But see, let's talk about this. This is I find it to be ridiculous at best. What are your thoughts?
It's so stupid. It's so stupid because this is the problem. All these people who say this, right, who are out here saying this, they want to live in a bubble where somehow they believe PlayStation is making Sony the most money in the world. Okay, again, it is not. Sony has showed you that they are not investing in PlayStation the way they invest elsewhere, right? They're looking to invest in movies, they're looking to invest in music. PlayStation is not one of those places that they're doing heavy investing anymore. Bungie was the last one, and that's probably going to be the last that you see for a while. The point is, PlayStation is not making the price high because they're coming from a position of power. It's not from a position of power, it's a position of desperation. They need the profit, and they know there's plenty of suckers who will do it. They know this is the reality. This is why they're doing it. It's not because they are this all-powerful monopoly on consoles now. They're not a monopoly on consoles. Nintendo is smoking them. What are you talking about? Nintendo has the monopoly of consoles if you want to talk about who has the most shit out there right now. Let's be real, man. These ponies and these dudes that get listen, they listen. I know there's a lot of these dudes who are, quote unquote Xbox guys who watch a bunch of these ponies talk. Okay. And they go listen to them. And listen, you obviously, if you go there and you spend your time listening to them, they have some influence over you, right? And what happens is it changes your mindset to start believing this pony narrative, right? To say that the fault of PlayStation raising their price is because Xbox is not competition. That's like you being abused in your relationship with your spouse and they're just beating on you every day and you say, "Yeah, no, it's because my mailman doesn't bring the mail on time. He always brings it random times. He gets so mad when it happens and he beats me." Like, what are you talking about? Xbox has nothing to do with what PlayStation is doing. Xbox has already left. They've already left the arena. They don't give a shit about the game that PlayStation is playing. PlayStation is still playing at the kiddie table, right? They're still doing the same old baby moves, right? They haven't changed. They're lost right now, right? They're so afraid to let go, right? That's where they are. They don't want to let go of the past, right? They don't want to move forward. Xbox has already done that, right? That might hurt you guys. It might make you feel sad. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, for you guys, Xbox doesn't care how you feel. Xbox is crushing it again with the amount of profit that they make over PlayStation. You don't think they look at that and laugh? You don't think Satya is like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to do my next acquisition that's going to boost us up even further, that's going to slap them up even further." Come on, man. The idea is ridiculous. I'm sorry if you're sitting there saying that to yourself, that, "Oh yeah, that really is the reason. Yeah, this Xbox, God, stupid Xbox. If only they would compete." Come on, man. Come on. PlayStation spent like $3 billion or maybe 4 all up with all the studios that they bought in the last few years that they got pumped to buy stuff. Xbox
Yeah.
spent over 100 bill.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We're not the same. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? All
I
right.
mean,
It's crazy.
interestingly enough, and I want you to touch on this point because this is a point that gets overlooked. You made mention of something moments ago where Xbox has left the way that they do business, right? They're not chasing what PlayStation is doing. PlayStation has and is and continues to be the same PlayStation from the PS1 days. Sell you a box, you buy games for said box, and then they move you to the next generation where you buy new box and new games. Now, yes, things are backwards compatible. At least there's that. But the difference of where Xbox is you can play an Xbox game anywhere you have the ability to do so. You can play it on your PC, you can play it on your console, you can play it on your handheld, you can play it on your TV, you can play it here, there, and everywhere. That is why, even though consoles are important, and of course they want to sell consoles, they're not harping and doing what Sony is doing. Sony is years behind. T-Money, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's the reality, right? It's 100% the reality. They are years behind. They're stuck trying to wrangle the same number of people that they've always had. We've heard it multiple times. The console market is not growing. It's not growing. And I got to tell you, bro, they have 61 million consoles shipped.
Yep.
61 million of them. What has that done for the sales of their games? What
Wow.
has it done? Where does the number of consoles out there for them equal so many more sales of their games? It doesn't. It doesn't. Xbox has a console. It has a console. It's going to keep having a console for as long as people keep desiring to have a console. But that is not the only thing that they do. They have multiple ways to get into this ecosystem. And it all benefits us at the end of the day. Again, you guys, like, this is the point that these people try to downplay.
Yep.
And it
I
frustrates
know
me.
exactly where you're going. I know exactly.
Xbox going big, Xbox going wide, Xbox doing all of this to gain more back to them, more money. You know what that does for Xbox players? This is why we talk about it like this, is because all of
Talk
that
about it.
comes back to us in Game Pass.
Yep. There you go. That's it.
All of that comes back to us in Game Pass.
Yep.
If you're not an Xbox dude and you haven't experienced Game Pass and you're just seeing it from the outside, you don't have your hands on those games that come out all the time, and the ability to just be like, oh, I want to play this. I feel like playing this. Let me do that. And just hit download, or right on the cloud. You don't even have to download that shit. You just go, boom, play it right there. You're good to go. All of that comes back to us. We see it every month in, month out.
Yep.
We see the games coming into Game Pass for us, El Gratis, as part of our subscription. So for us on Xbox side, when we talk about Xbox moving past the little playground that PlayStation is now alone in, right? That little playground that they play in, and they moved on to the big leagues. I'm sorry, but for us, it's a huge win. It's a huge W. You might not care. You might say, "Oh, but Game Pass is for poor people." Well, let me be poor. Let me be poor. I'll be happy as shit being poor, playing a shit ton of games, while you, who are
Game
rich, are only
dates.
playing a few.
Yeah, you know what? You're so poor that you're going to be able to play Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, Indiana
Facts.
Jones.
Facts.
It's look.